Well, good morning everybody and welcome back to My Global Kitchen. So today our tour of the traditional counties of the UK. We're leaving Yorkshire, heading south probably on the M1 as far as Leicestershire, and to be exact the town of Melton Mowbray. So with that clue you've maybe already guessed what I'm making today. If you want another clue, here it is. Got it now? Yes, today we're going to make traditional pork pies. A perfect choice for the Christmas period, I think. So the pie itself is a very simple concept. Minced or chopped pork, baked in a hot water pastry crust, which we'll go into later, then filled with some sort of meat jelly and then allowed to set. But within that there are plenty of varieties. We can look at whether to mince or cut your meat. Some prefer one, some prefer the other. What herbs and spices to add to it. And of course, importantly, whether you eat it cold, warm or hot, which quite often depends which part of the country you come from. Now, the pork pie itself dates back to the medieval times, a very simple dish, and the pastry in those early versions was really just to encase and preserve the meat inside, or in some cases the fruit or whatever else they were putting inside them. But today we've refined that concept a little bit, so we can eat the pastry as well, and to take it to its highest level, probably this is the same recipe, the same base that is now used in France to make their wonderful pâté en croûte, which is remarkably similar to a pork pie loaf. Anyway, what equipment do we need to make this lot? So today's equipment list includes a chopping board, a knife, a bowl, some chef's rings, rolling pin, a wooden spoon, a jug, a baking tray, some baking paper and a brush. Okay, so let's start with the pork mixture. I've got basically simple minced pork, and I'm going to add to that some finely chopped bacon, and then my herbs and spices, and I'm using basically salt, white pepper, thyme, sage and a bit of nutmeg. So they're all going to go in like that, and then we give them a good mix around. And as you will see while I'm doing this, my pastry I prepared yesterday, basically to spread out the workload a little bit, but it's really simple. All you do is you take some water in a pan, warm it up, add the lard, or you could use butter, to the pan so that it dissolves, and then you simply add in the flour and stir it around and it comes together, and that's all there is to it. So it's the complete opposite of most pastries where you want cold water and cold fat. Here you're doing it hot, and that makes a difference between pork pie pastry and other kinds of pastry. So that's our mixture prepared. Now we're going to roll out our pastry. So we take a piece of the pastry, and roll it out to about the thickness of a pound coin, basically, as with most pastries. And then on our board here, we're just going to put that into a pastry ring. Excuse me. Press that down. And then trim off the edges. That can go back with the rest of the mix. Like that. Running out of space here slightly. A little bit more pastry. Now we take our meat mixture and add a fairly generous amount. That's about it, I think. For now, you can use the your ring now to measure the lid. That's it, like that. And then just push that down on top, and now you can just crimp it a little to make sure it's nicely sealed. Then we make a hole in the top like that, and with a clean finger just enlarging that hole a bit, because we'll need that for later on. And that's it, that's ready to go into an oven for about 3/4 of an hour. So while I do the other two, here's a check on the ingredients. Our ingredients we need this week are 110 grams of lard, 350 grams of plain flour, 2 teaspoons of salt, 225 grams of minced pork, 75 grams of bacon, thinly chopped, half a teaspoon of thyme, half a teaspoon of sage, 1/4 teaspoon of nutmeg, 1/4 teaspoon of white pepper, 100 millilitres of stock, meat stock or chicken stock, 2 teaspoons of gelatin powder, and 1 egg. Okay, so there's my 3 pies, and I put them straight into the oven as they were for about 40 minutes. I've brought them out now. I've taken the rings off because they're now just about solid enough to hold together. And all I'm going to do now is brush them all around the sides and the top with some egg. And this should help them turn a lovely golden dark brown colour. There we are. And now I'm going to pop them back into the oven for another half an hour or so, and then they'll be ready to fill with jelly. Okay, so there we have our 3 pies already. What I've done here is just add a little 2 teaspoons of gelatin powder to some water, cold water, and I'm just going to add that now to the hot meat stock and give that a little stir around. So while that's jellifying a little bit, gives me a chance to wish you all a very Merry Christmas and very best wishes for 2026. So jelly is not compulsory. If you really don't like jelly in your pork pies or mince pies, it's not. You can leave it out, but for me, it's part of the experience. The pies are the poorer for not having jelly. So what we do basically, I'm going to use the smaller jug. We just pour that into the hole. Into each one. It does take a while for it to absorb. You have to be a bit patient, and then go back and top it up. Whoops, top it up again. I'll have to mop that up. If you've got a syringe, it's probably even easier, but I don't have one. So that's basically it. I'll top them up a little bit more as we go along. But now they just go into the fridge, at least, well, overnight is better, so the jelly sets nicely. And then tomorrow they'll be ready to eat as you like them, hot, cold, or in between. I think personally we're going to have ours warmed up with some mushy peas. So all the best. Look forward to seeing you in 2026 with some more regional recipes from the UK. Cheers.